Hey guys, Tarke here, and as promised, here is my sort of end of yellow maps, getting ready for red maps update. We're going to start off by running a tier 9 that need for completion. I picked this one in particular because it had a bunch of damage mods and enfeeble on there. We're throwing some extra strong boxes on it, and solid. We'll throw on Fortune Favors the Brave as well, because why not? And Alva, just throw all the things. My Atlas tree currently looks like this, slightly changed from the one that I showed you initially. That's because we've had some very special items drop, which we'll also showcase after this map. The only real improvements to the character since the first mapping showcase is we got a random 5-link harvest, which just again further demonstrates why I think it's so important to, you know, whenever you get a random 6-socket on a usable base for your build, keep hold of it. Because there's a pretty high chance that you throw an essence in it, you get something decent. If you've got a couple of 6-sockets lying around, you get a random 5-link craft. Well, bingo, that is your upgrade. So we took a random 6-socket thicket that we just picked up while, ooh, nice little chunk of damage. While first getting into maps, threw an essence into it, hit a usable-ish bow, and got a 5-link. And that will now carry us through into reds. We're currently using the 5-link on our clear setup, not our single target setup. My thought process of that, while yes, sometimes on boss damage, I would rather have the higher boss damage, there are so many just like monsters with all the random league mechanics that are being shoved into maps now. I think having safe map clear is probably a priority over single target. And, you know, if you're getting onto the big bad boss vibes, you can always just, you know, sub-round your gems. But I think for the most part, you'd rather have smooth map clear, just because there's just so many random monsters, so many different things going on right now. Having the safety of being able to punch through those really juicy Harvey packs, and also the fact that it means that when you get stuff like Legion or stuff like Breach early on, when your character is still kind of finding its steps, you can actually meaningfully engage with the mechanic, I think is very important. Because there's a very big difference between, you know, proccing a Legion and being able to clear the Legion and smashing your head against a wall because, if only I did slightly more damage, which, you know, sucks and isn't fun for anyone. So, yes. Looks like we got the Ritual on the Fortune Favors the Brave. Very happy with that. Hopefully we get something decent out of it. Again, as mentioned in the previous video, my Wrath is on a Blessing Life Tap setup, so if you ever see my health randomly drop, it's because I'm manually pressing a button, which costs me life, but gives you a bunch of damage for about 10-ish seconds. Maybe get an Empower and Enlighten, please? Nope. Oh, we've got an Echo, we can throw that on our gear, that'd be fun. Getting great value out of rushing the Corrupted Strongbox early node. We've gotten quite a few Divines off of it, and we've gotten some 6-links, but sadly completely the wrong colours and bases for this build, but what can you do? And you can still see that even just on a 4-link, the Lightning Arrow Barrage setup does still punch through a lot of these early scary enemies and bosses, even though our gear is very minimal. Obviously, you know, this is still very early content, so you'd be hoping to not hit any walls, but again, it just goes to show how far bows have come, the fact that you can do comfortable non-crit leveling in SSF in a league start environment and not hate yourself, which, it was not to say that it was impossible to do before, but it definitely was a much more frustrating, much more laborious process. That's definitely something that a lot of people can agree on. So one thing I want to say, which is very important to stress in the like yellow map phase when you're getting ready to get into reds, if you're still on double 4-links, a lot of people still will be on double 4-links, even going to early reds. There's nothing wrong with this sitting down and farming tier 9s, tier 10s comfortably. If you can comfortably farm tier 9s and tier 10s, then this is the part of the game where you're starting to get to decent eye-level bases. You'll be able to like engage with a lot of content. Things that are dropping are going to have like reasonable value in a trade league environment, or in a SSF environment, again, are a high enough item level that you'll start getting quite meaningful upgrades. So if you're only comfortable to farm tier 9s, tier 10s, and you're not quite ready for reds, nothing wrong with just saying, I'm going to farm these for a day or two. And, you know, if you get lucky with your progression, rush straight up into reds. If you don't get lucky with your progression, maybe still run one tier 11 as soon as you can, just for the sake of unlocking master missions. So the way the master mission system works is you gain every day a set of master missions based on the highest tier of maps you've completed. So if you've completed one red map at any point, at that point onwards, all future master missions you unlock will be red maps. So if you do, you know, think, oh, my build's not quite red enough, even if you just ran like a white red map just to get it done, getting that unlock is huge and will speed up your progression when you are then, you know, feeling comfortable to punch on through into the scarier content. The one bad thing about doing these super juiced maps as your demonstration is you spend forever in the demonstration, but that's okay. We can have a 20-minute map there. It's one of the things I actually kind of like in a way about the current like Path of Exile meta, is that I find I'm spending more times in each map and doing like shorter map sessions. So I'll be like a case of, you know, rolling 4 maps, laying on sextants with 4 uses with the node on the Atlas skill tree, spend, you know, however many minutes, 5-10 minutes, depending on what you're putting in the map in each map, and then that's like a solid play session. Walk away, make a drink, go to the loo, do whatever, start up again. I don't know, I like it a lot. I much prefer this meta to the spam chaining maps in 30 seconds stuff with old Shape Strand. That wasn't very... Well, it was fun, but it wasn't very healthy. But anywho. So, hopefully from all of this, you can see that Lightning Arrow is very, very satisfying. We've only got 1 chain searching. Damn it, I was really hoping for a searching module. We've only got 1 chain in the build currently. I am going for... I'm going to take these spell suppression nodes first. They're a bit chunkier. We're at the point where I've gotten most of my core damage on the tree outside of 2-point jewels. I haven't really gotten any great searching eye jewels to rush. So we're just going for defenses. I'm still missing a couple of life nodes on my tree, but I'm prioritizing the spell suppression over the life nodes currently because with my current gearing, I'm right on the threshold that an extra 100 life means I need to get more accuracy. And every time I'm leveling up, I'm gaining flat life, so I actually should probably check that after this ritual. So, we're a precise technique non-crit build. We have to have higher accuracy than life, otherwise we don't get our 40% more damage. So it's very, very important that whenever you're making gear upgrades, whenever you're leveling up in the endgame, you just quickly check, has my damage gone down? If your damage has gone down, well, you better pump that precision up 1 more level. Nope, we are still good. And you can see it makes a very big difference. Tooltip going from 15k to 24k. It's a pretty sizable jump there. That doesn't factor in a lot of our other situational buffs like point blank and all these other things, but yeah. Ooh, nice getting those ickers. Looks like we're going to have to vendor at some point in this map as well. Oh, actually that Imperial Bow might be usable. Let's keep that. Whoop. But yeah, so even though we have got the 5-link on our map clear set up, our barrage still does more damage when it matters. The exceptions to that, though, is if you have multiple bosses, or you have bosses directly next to a wall, you can, like, shotgun by, like, chaining all of your GMP'd lightning arrows into the wall, which will, like, all splash when they hit the wall and bounce. Do I want any of these? No, actually. I'm going to take the fusings. I'm going to take the chance orbs. Might re-roll. I'm just going to take the scarab. And do that. Cool. Need to run down. Oh, Bub's now on the table. This is going to be interesting. Hello, Bubbles. We need to actually do the boss.
I saw in the Nomad the same lethal desperation for survival that I saw in the churning black masses.
You can see when you actually get into the point blank range, even on a falling, nice and cozy damage. Can we stop with the talking, Envoy? You talk a lot of rubbish. Alright, so let's see if this Imperial Bow is any... Yeah, that's actually solid. I'm not good enough that I would 5-link it, but I'll keep hold of it just in case we get random harvest crafts. Would actually be an upgrade of my current bow. Would enable me to do some Trinity stuff, which is nice because Trinity is good. Yeah, I would actually much prefer running a Trinity setup to running a pure pure lightning setup. It is more damage. Ideally, it would be a like 70% lightning, 30% like cold damage setup, because we do have lightning damage is lucky because we are a non-crit build, and it's your non-crit lightning damage is lucky, so our lightning damage is lucky. So we still want to have majority lightning, but even with the lucky roll, because the range on lightning is so huge, you can have your damage very heavily weighted into lightning and still, you know, make use of everything. Yeah, okay, that will do. So let's show off where the gear is currently at, show off the exciting new items, and explain why I've tweaked the Atlas skill tree slightly off my original planned Atlas skill tree. So my original planned Atlas skill tree, if you recall, was meant to be going through these Alva nodes. It was originally. I'm now running through the middle, picking up these Shrine nodes and Spoils of War. I wonder why I would ever possibly do that. Yeah, boy. So Gull has always been one of my favorite items, and we got a near max roll Gull with, well, just Gull in like Gull League with the Shrine nodes. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be using this. And I also got a Queen of the Forest, and I got Rampage Glove, so we could go full zoom if we wanted to. Probably not going to rock the full package unless we go for a very specific setup. We might do it just to like blast through early Atlas progression. Might run the Queen of the Forest. I did previously play a Queen of the Forest build this league, so I'm very much addicted to the clear speed, but we would need to pump our evasion up quite a lot to make a lot of use of it. Currently I have fairly minimal invasion investment, but it's worth it with the Queen of the Forest, and the Queen of the Forest is better with the Gull, because one of the shrines you get from Gull, which is very strong on a Ghost Dance build, gives you huge chunks of evasion, armor, and energy shield synergy. So yeah, because of this, we will be speccing into the shrine nodes, and hopefully in the next update, we will be a Gull gamer. So we're gonna pick up these shrine nodes next. Once we've picked up these, we'll then go for amplified energies, because essences are the primary source of crafting our gear in SSF. But this will be a huge fun and damage and everything pickup when we get this, and we will also be getting more loot because Drawn to Power is very, very strong. Once I've got these, I will then go for Word of the Exarch, because we are getting into the stage of the game where we're starting to get altar stuff. And I will probably tweak my Atlas tree slightly since I'm coming up this way. I'll probably come up to grab these nodes, potentially even all that glitters as well. Wasn't planning on going past this way, but the nodes I was gonna do on the Rogue Exile stuff, I'm probably going to instead splash into the extra shrine stuff. So the other good thing about coming up this way is then puts me very close to the extra sextant node, which is super, super strong. So yeah, we're probably going down that route. So let's talk about our current gear, current passive skill tree, future plans, gear upgrades, what you can do at this stage to get your character ready for red maps. So we're still using the same thicket bow I had in the previous map demonstration. Bubs, hello again. But funnily enough, the next thicket bow that I picked up with a 6-socket, I threw an essence into it, and we hit a very similar bow. We hit bow attacks via additional arrow. Apparently I'm quite good at getting these. This is a pretty good example of the sort of thing you would want. Ideally you would want this with an open suffix or with attack speed already, but you want 3 ideally, but at least 2 good prefix flat Ellie rolls, and then you can max it out with Ellie damaged weapon penetrates res. That was a weird way of saying that sentence. Or if you get your hands on a unveiled bow with attacks this weapon penetrates Ellie res, and then like double flat Ellie or flat Ellie, a crafted Ellie, that would be like the good vibes. So this was our old helmet. This is our new helmet. This is a really nice helm, but we've got the Gull now. The main thing which is so good about this is 10% of fizz damage from hits taken as cold. This was a random pickup from Delve. Yeah, we're going to replace this to the Gull, though, because the Gull is stronger than this. But I'll probably still keep hold of this helmet and run it against bosses which don't have any ads, which I can't get the Gull Shrine to proc off until I get a better helmet. And it's always nice to have spare rare helmets for spreading out like random helmet enchants when you do your Uberlabs. We have since done our Uberlab, which we didn't have in the previous video. We picked up Focal Point. Feels great. A little bit of extra map clear from the extra projectiles. I don't really notice the mark proliferating through packs all that often, but generally we punch through the pack to them quickly enough anyway, and because we're using the mark on hit support gem, we nearly always have it when we want to have it. Only time it feels bad is if you go into just like massive blue packs, and because we're only proccing our mark on hit against rares or uniques, it's kind of like, huh, I wish I had a markup right now, because it's a massive chunk of damage, a massive chunk of damage reduction, and extra clear with all the extra projectiles, which all add up to extra damage on single target, because Lightning Arrow does splash damage. So, yes. Same chest, but we're going to probably not actually roll on the chest. Probably the boots are probably the thing we're going to keep hold of the longest. So when I ran my Uberlab, I got the adds 1 to 160 lightning damage if you haven't killed recently, which is probably the best. It's either this or pen if you haven't killed recently. This is really strong because if you haven't killed recently, probably means you're bossing and you want extra damage when you're bossing. So let's see if do we need the fire res on you? We do not. Let's see if we get something more usable. Oh, it's the other one around anyway. We don't need the armor. Gain 4% of fizz damage extra cold. Would be great if we were like a Doomfletch build, but we're not a Doomfletch build, and we don't really scale flat fizz at all, but oh well, that'll do. Same belt as we had in the previous video, same gloves as we've had in the previous video. We since crafted attack speed on them. Same ring since we've had. I did actually fall upon this ring, which is very nice. Good life roll. It's on a Chaos Res implicit. Has a splash up stats that we need. Has open prefix, so I could craft flat damage on there. Would very much like to replace this ring with that one, but then by the time I've got my auras on, we've only got 53 mana unreserved and 36 mana cost lightning arrows. Yeah, a bit rough. We could throw inspiration in there, but still, you want a little bit of minus mana cost somewhere on gear if you're having to level up your precision. If you have higher accuracy rolls in your gear, you don't need to level your precision as high, and then suddenly you get a lot more mana to play with. But, you know, we need the precision active to get that extra chunk of damage, so we have more accuracy than life currently. Ammo is just a mix of stats. That's it. Obviously, you want this, but with damage rolls on there. Or higher accuracy rolls, just same thing, but better. Eventually, Omniscience from Searing Exarch. That's going to be some way away yet. Same quiver. We've got the flat fire damage to attacks, life, solid double res, and then crafted lightning damage to attacks there. And then this chest piece is just a mix of stats. Don't believe I need the... Oh, I do actually need the int on that. So yeah, if we replace this for the Queen of the Forest, we would need to make that int up somewhere else. Something I'm going to have to think about. Could put it on one of these, but ideally we just have, in once like the proper setup comes around, we have just one solid item with like a 50 int roll on that, and that solves all of our requirements. And obviously on the Omniscience build, with the way that works, you don't really need to worry about like, oh, do I have enough strength, do I have enough int, and being spread super thin or needing all these different stats up. Another thing we can do to make the gearing a little bit softer, and it's also one of the reasons why I really like this Ghost Shrouds tree and coming all the way up here, is we get a lot of int from this routing, which makes the int gearing much, much softer. And we are going for this 2-point jewel. Probably taking this 2-point jewel as a priority, because that's another 10 int, which is very strong. And it puts us next to frenzy charges, and we generate frenzy charges through this mark node, or this marked mastery. And getting a little bit of extra frenzy charge duration is super strong. Having increased frenzy charge duration just smooths out the markup time. Really nice for bosses with long prolonged phases, or just like random invulnerability bits, or just when you have downtime in a fight where you're focusing more so on dodging than attacking. But yeah, so as I said, we're at the point of the character where we've got a lot of our core damage, except for stuff like 2-point frenzies, jewels, etc. We'll get the jewels when we get good jewels. And at this point, we're just going for strong defensive nodes, spell suppression, chaos res with the mastery for corrupting blood immunity. and then filling in life nodes as we can, constantly balancing our accuracy rolls. So if you're really struggling at this point, you're like, Tarke, I understand you're saying throw essences into random 6 sockets. Yes, just farm yellow maps if I'm not comfortable with my gear, but I'm struggling even yellows. Like, what am I meant to do? You've got all this fat damage on gear. How are you getting this stuff? It really comes down to having a strict loot filter and actually picking up items. Picking up items is very strong in the current state of the game with the new Eldritch influences. In a trade league environment, but especially in an SSF environment, make sure you're tailoring your loot filters around the build you're playing. I've uploaded several loot filter guides over the years. I've uploaded another one this league, which was going over the Ruptured Deadeye one. I can just quickly talk through the items that I have showing up on my loot filter for this current character. I have all the 1.5 attack speed based bows because we're an LE build, we only care about the attack speed. I also have Imperial and Highborn bows because they have good implicit. And I have Spine bows and Maraketh bows. So basically all the best attack speed bows for elemental builds. Likewise, same deal with all the quivers. I picked all the quivers which scale this build, so anything which gives attack speed, flat elemental damage, percentage elemental damage, or projectile speed, because projectile speed equates to elemental damage. For the gearing, because it's a Ghost Shrouds build, we want evasion, we want energy shield. I show the top 3 originally, pure evasion bases and hybrid evasion ES bases. As I start to get a better set of gear, I then shrink that down. I'm currently only showing the top, like the best pure evasion bases, so the tier 1 evasion bases, and the top 2 sets of evasion energy shield bases. So yes, hopefully that was helpful. In the next update, we'll be talking about red maps. And finally, if you're struggling a little bit with your map progression, when it comes to speccing your atlas, getting to these nodes certainly do help. I do really recommend getting this Kirik mission early on, because, you know, you should be constantly buying out maps from Kirik's inventory early on and checking for maps you're missing completion for. The Kirik missions are very strong in SSF for rushing completion. And also, don't forget to throw in sacrifice fragments for the extra quant they provide. And there's lots of scarabs you get now. Just throw scarabs in. If you have to chisel your early maps, go for it. I will regularly chisel in SSF. When I'm first trying to break into yellows, I'll chisel a couple of tier 5s, and I will often like chisel from tier 8s to tier 10s early on. You can see I'm pretty low on chisels now, just to build a bit of an initial base. Once I've got like a combined pool of like 5 or 6, I feel okay, because at that point I know I'll become self-sufficient. But you can see now that I've got like a pretty solid pool of 8s, 9s. I've run all my 10s, but I've now gotten 2 tier 11s. At this point, I can stabilize very easily, and I won't put any more like big currency until we get into red maps, at which point I will be like trying to force up the tiers as quickly as possible. But anyway, I hope that information was helpful. Having a lot of fun with the build, cannot recommend it enough, and I'll see you all tomorrow in tomorrow's update. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.